Today we close with the Avesta Gathas for this year, but there is further commentary of what would be called Zoroastrianism to go, and further translations of such text to share, some of which I'm checking into permission to put on this channel, but Vahishtoishti Gatha, Yasna 53. Vahishtoishtis Sravi Zarathustrahe Spitamahya Yezi Hoedat Ayapta Ashat Hacha Ahuro Mazdae Yavoe Vispae Avanvim Yaechahoe Daben Sashancha Daenahyae Vanhuyae Ukdashathanacha. The best riches that have been heard of are those of Zarathustra, since the mindful Lord grants to him by justice for all eternity felicities, a good life, and those who deceived him, being converted, may learn to formulate correctly the utterances and deeds of the good spirit of religion. Da'ana, which becomes the later word in Arabic, deen, and in Aramea, same thing, deen. Verse 2. Achahues chantu manam haukdaes shathanaes cha kshnumazdae vahmae afraret yasnascha kavacha vishtaspo Zarathustres spitamo ferashastrascha daenhu erezus pathoyam daenam ahuro sashyantu dadat, and may Vishtaspa and the Zarathustrian son of the Spitama family, and Thrash Aashtra establish the straightly just paths of the spirits for whom the Lord has appointed saviors, who strive through utterances and deeds by good disposition to utter cheerfully the hymns for adoration of the mindful, for his satisfaction. And remember, the Savior here is not in the Christian sense of the term. Verse 3. Tem jatu pauruchesta haechat aspana spetami yezevi Dogedram Zarathustrahe Vanheas Petiastem Mananhu Ashahyamazascha Tebio Dat Sarem Athahim Ferashva Thwa Krathwa Spenishta Armatois Hadan Vareshva. O Paurujista, daughter of Haetchataspa, thou youngest of the daughters of Zarathustra, gives to thee this. to impress communication with good disposition, justice, and Lord mindful. So counsel with thy understanding most bounteous, of well-disposed love. Now, we don't have to think of the divine and the qualities of the divine as separate, and certainly when we communicate with God, there are other things that may be attracted via or repelled because of what we're doing. Verse 4. Temsi vesperedani verani jafedroe vidat pathia etcha vastruya embio accha havaedave ashaoni ashavabyo mananhu Van heus, van wat hanhus membedas, mazdae da datahuro, da enayae, van huyae, yavoe vispae, him I will emulate, or I choose. Who shall generously distribute service to father, husband, pasturer, gentleman, righteous, and I don't know what they mean by pagan, perhaps someone without religion. The sunlit fruit of good disposition shall be mine. May the mindful Lord grant it to thy good spirit for all eternity. The rewards of this world are limited, but that with God is never ending, right? Verse 5. Sahveni vasyamnabyo kinebyo mrami Shmaim yacha vademnu menchai mazdazdum vaedarum dainabis abhyasta ahum ye venheus mananhu ashaveanyu Einim vivenghatu tat zi hoe host enem anhat. I utter admonitions to those who are being married and to maidens. I am counseling to you. You should heed, remember, and realize through spiritual striving for the life of good disposition, vying with each other in justice and spiritual precepts, thus shall you be happy. So the joy in jihad and fi sabilillah. I'm throwing in references to other, by the way. Verse 6. Ethai heithia naro atha jannayo trujo hacha rathemu yenes pashatha freudin trujo yesehoes pitha tanbo paravayo berendum yu tu svarethem nazat vathrem bregvodem yu dejit aretaem yu anais amanahim ohumerengeruye. Thus shall you be genuine men and women, for can you discover any advantage in belonging to the party of the wicked? for what the evil desire shall be kept away from their bodies. The mindful Lord shall present bad food to those who, crying woe, and shall withdraw comfort from the law, scorning wicked doers. Thereby you destroy the spiritual lives. So, spiritual death is certainly a choice, and say some of the themes that we're familiar with from Christianity happened a long time ago, and people didn't really think that it necessarily had anything to do with Mithric religion. So, verse 7. Acha venizdem anharahya mangahya yavat azus sarazdishtu punue haktayae paracha mrachas auracha yatra menus dragvato anasat pavra evisayatha magam tematve vayoe anheti apemem vacho. But to you shall be the compensation of the Magian cause, in the measure that most heartily zeal be rooted in your body. But if you dismiss the Magian cause, you shall be at the last cry woe, when the spirits of the wicked dodge downwards and disappear. Now, whether it's the Order of Nine Angles or some other group talking about being against the Magian cause, they mean the priestcraft that was attributed to this path, and they don't mean what this passage says all at the same time. So it's something to be... anyways, verse 8. Anais adus vareshnanho davshnya hentu Zahyacha vispanhu krasentam upa hukshatrais generam kruneramcha ramamcha ais dadatu shietebyo vizebyo iratu istvafsho vodereza merethias mazishto mashucha astu. And thereby let all the malefactors be deluded through causes other causes, through whose good rulers peace shall be given to the dwellings and villages. Murder and bloody deed, let them all be abandoned and cry upwards in vain. Let the greatest torture attack those captives of destruction, and let that occur soon too. So those captivated upon the other path, we certainly, as much as merit can be gained through martyrdom or difficulty, we certainly hope that people behave themselves and stop persecution. Not, things have to get really bad before the end times, and we want to rush that along, and we don't want to detract from that. It's like, no, you gotta. Verse 9. Duzvaranais vashu rasti toen repis rajis Aisha sadedit areta pesho tanbo kuashava ahuro yeisjates hemithiat vasetoischa tatmasta Tavakshatram Yaerez Joe Dahi Dregave Vahyo shall reach the place of decay with the malefactors who, being law scorning as to their bodies doomed, are seeking to degrade the worthy. Where is the Lord who will deprive them of freedom and life? The kingdom by which, O mindful, thou shalt give to the poor man who lives justly, that better part. And certainly it's better to be poor and downtrodden upon what is best than to be rich and stuff. But we are not talking here. We are not talking here when we go over this in such a way as, the nomads are all evil, and no, not at the least. But chapter 2, criticism of the Gathic pantheon. Methods of the criticism. Why any criticism of all? Criticism is certainly at a place where all is consistent, but a chaos demands from intelligent beings endowed with the desires of knowledge and progress of truth a stand, an attitude, an explanation of some sort. Nor does criticism usually come from enemies. Much knowledge and more interest are needed to induce human beings to spend their time in a profitless venture. It is a sign of interest and should be welcomed as such. Apart from the enlightenment it may yield, the subject index shows that we have in the Gathic field full justification for critical consideration. We have a bewildering array of so-called divinities, and these divinities seem to conflict in their claims and functions and nature. In one place some appear as supreme or first-rank divinities, and others only as agents. Again, the real, not the legendary, biography of Zarathustra will remain unknown unless we succeed in puzzling it out from these hymns, and so compiling in this problem that Mills already attempted to change the order of some of the hymns in order to secure a more consistent sequence. Having therefore good grounds to apply critical methods to the Gathas, we may begin to do so by the preliminary stage of searching analysis by recording 1. Duplicates, 2. Distinctions between the various members of such duplications and other parties in general, 3. This will lead us to examine what groups of thought or association exist between these various members, which, when contrasted, will lead to some provisionary. 4. Reconstruction on a coherent scheme. Duplications in the Gathas appear to be of two kinds, the general and the detailed. Well, when we're talking evocative text, which a scripture is supposed to be, you're going to find things being repeated in different ways and different contexts. And if we're going to be honest, from Jesus before, is there anyone whom we can honestly say the religion that is attributed to them most strongly, per se, is really the religion that these people were promoting? That their actual teachings were preserved enough in terms of the revealed that they were sharing and the inspired that they were sharing directly from the divine. I don't think we can honestly make that point. 2. General duplications. The general duplications here pointed out appear to be in the tentative parallel arrangement of the two coherent Gathic groups, Ahunavati, Yasnas 28 through 34, and Yasnas 43 to 51. 53 is a duplicate biographies of Zarathustra whose details are worked out in the harmony of the Gathas prefixed to the life of Zarathustra. The general reasons for this parallel arrangement are as follows. 1. The two hymns on dualism, 30 and 45. Each begins with a declaration of intention to speak and an exhortation to the hearer to hear. Mark, learn, and inwardly digest, followed by the definite announcement of dualism. Yasna 30. I don't know what the word for verse is. 30. I'm at 33, 4. Oh, maybe, yeah. 33 and 4, 45 and 2. 30, verse 3 and 4, 45, verse 2. The coherence of the two groups, 28 through 34, and 43 through 51 and 53, divided by the differing haptangkati, 35 through 42. The first group has 3 lines to a stanza. The latter has varying stanzas. The explicit or formal salutary beginning of 43 and the affecting ending of 34, praying that all mankind become progressive, not reformist or liberal in the sense of those 4 categories, but progressive in terms of staying on the fundamentals and going forward throughout life with those. The duplicate choice of the cattle and appointment as judge, the duplicate mention of the names of Zarathustrian heroes, Vishtaspa and the other ones. 6. Question about the origin of the heavens, 31:7, 31 verse 7, and Yasna 44 verse 3. Guided by these definite duplications, the minor parallelisms fall into fair order, as the reader may judge by comparing the left hand with the right hand pages of the Life of Zarathustra. 3. Detailed duplications. 1. The contrast between Vahumana and Akamana, and Spenta Menu and Angro Menu. We might add to this Asha and the Druj. We have here 3 cults: the Asha Druj, or moral cult, the Mana, or mental cult, and the Menu, or spirit cult. So good deeds, good words, good thoughts, I guess you can connect that to. 2. The path of Asha, Yasna 33:5 and 6. Yasna 51:13, the path of Ohomano, 34:12, 51:16, the path of the cow, of free will, 31:9, the path of prophet, 43:3, the path of good teaching, 46:4, the path of the dharanas, of the Saashyant, 53:2, the saber, with the way of Vohomana and the Dhaanas, 34:13, and the Milky Way, 44:3. Asha and Ashe are evident duplications, and indeed we find Ashe almost exclusively connected with Vohomana. There is the manifold destinations of the Vo beyond. A, the house of the clever, and B, the house of the best, our worst mind. C, the house of the Druj. D, in harm, our harmlessness, 46:17. Garodman. E is E. All of these may be synonyms, but certainly originated in different surroundings. Well, again, very limited way of looking at things, isn't that? 5. There are many words for knowledge or word, each belonging to a different complex or group of ideas and thoughts. There is Armati and Tushnamati. The first is certainly grouped with Asha. The latter occurs 43:15, contrasted with the Ashaist. We also have the duplication or contradiction of the spirit wearing the heavens and their lights as a robe, 35, and Zarathustra's question about it as if unknown to him, 31:7. Ada is a duplication of Adana, and so we find the latter in the Vohomanist 37, and the former in the Spenta-Manuist 33:12. 33:11 and 48:1 are not definite. We have another duplication, Patha, in the first document, 31:9, and Pathman in the second, 46:4. We have duplications of Teri Meti, 33:4, and Peri Meti, 32:3. The former opposed to Ardmeti, the latter possibly to Tushna Meti, as we shall see later. For distinctions, Kavai Vishtaspa only attains to the Magian leadership, 46:14, 51:16, hence he did not possess it originally. The Davas rushed over together to Ashma, 36. Hence they were not with him originally, presumably belonging to another party. The Kavai assists the Druj, 32:14, hence they are distinct from them. And that brings up something very important, doesn't that? It brings up that the Davas chose to become demons. And they who utter just words had communion with Drujist, hence they needed a warning not to do so, 49:9. Jamaspa is invited to join with the Ashaist, 49:10, hence he did not belong to them before. The Dana of the Druj, who has gone over to him, therefore destroys the just straight path, 51:13, which must therefore differ from the Druj. So, again, in that context, Satanism is a religion. Whether you're theistic, atheistic, whether you don't admit that your path is of the demons, this is, they're definitely talking about there being two religions, right? Zarathustra is not yet a recipient of Asha in 51:17. Zarathustra mentions 33:2, as meritorious actions, either killing of a Druj or the instruction of a comrade. This implies that not all comrades were believers. Not everybody that's helpful is going to, be, on your religion. Not everybody who's not on your religion is an enemy, obviously. Zarathustra opposes Davas, Druj, and Pirimeti, the proud, 32:3. Who were these latter? Were they the unbelieving clever? 32, Tarameti, 33:4, and 45:11 is to be removed from the nobility by magic practice. By evil magic practice, the art and science of religion, skillful alteration of consciousness? Certainly not. But magic became a hate word among the Christians, and they're performing magic. They're doing something. It's like, no. It's like an Arabic sihr is not. So, it's not like the word magic. It's very specific. It's working with the Davas through worshiping them. People don't call it worship always, but that's really what it is. The word contrasts naturally with Armeti, just as Vohumana contrast with Akamana, and Spenta Menu with Angro Menu. The juxtaposition of Davas and men, or mortals doomed to die, shows that the designation men was the appellation of a particular cause, 29:4, 48:1. In 34:5, the division seems to be threefold: savages, Davas, and men. Doomed men. Again, 45:11. The division is Davas, scorners, and the lukewarm, as opposed to the faithful followers. So, prepondering seems the influence of the Davas, 32:4, and the term seems to apply to all renegades from Vahomana to Ahura Mazda or Asha. Some know Vahumana, but turn difficulties of doctrines into their own advantage. 34:7. This implies a Vohumanist cult that is recognized publicly, friendly to the Magyans or the Karapans, 51:14, and the Turas, 46:12. Hence they are not identical with them. Ashma is mentioned along with the Druj, 29:2. Hence is not understood to be one of them. Grahma is friendly enough with the clever to be able to pervert them to becoming Drujist, but he is in open warfare with the Ashaist, whom he slaughters, 32:10. Hence the clever and the Ashaists differ from each other, for some of the clever were in union with the Drujists. The clever are worthy of Vahu Mana's closer acquaintance, hence they are not already his followers. Zarathustra promises to be a support for the Ashaist, 43:8. Hence he did not originate among them. Bartholomew, 645, had already noted that tash, creating, is a word which occurs only in connection with gav, the kine. Zarathustra consults Vahumana how he should adore Ahura Mazda, 45:6. Hence Zarathustra was not originally a worshipper of Ahura Mazda. Actually, no, you can make this point in various other texts that once being called to a prophet, they sought guidance of how to worship God in the best of ways. Not just by their own dictation. They gave that up. Tushna Meti, 43:15, is contrasted with both Ashaist and Drujist and represents a party conciliatory of the Drujist. The cattle was created for the herdsman and for their farmer, 29:6. Hence the two latter are not identical. Zarathustra was the only one who has heard the teachings of Asha and Vahumana before his appointment as judge, 29:8. Hence the teachings of Asha and Vahumana are not identical, such as you, 29:11, shows a multiplicity of cults or so-called divine beings. The free choice of the cattle, 31:9, indicates a further change from pastoral to agricultural life. And instead of trying to go too quickly through this, I am going to continue with the rest of this later. Knatra Horhe Mazda Eshambaha Kamna Mazda Eshambaha.